So I'll just share my screen and we will go, today our webinar is about API 580, risk-based inspection. So first we go to API.org website. You can just Google API ICP, Individual Certification Program, and then come to this page, as you can see here. So let's go and see first what are the schedules and fees for this API 580. So if you click on schedules and fees, you can see that the next program is between August 13 and September 3, just 3 weeks window. So if you have registered by the deadline, which was June 18, you can select a slot between this window, this 3 weeks window. It used to be 2 weeks, and then people could not get a place at Prometric. That's why they extended to 3 weeks. So whoever has already submitted their application by this deadline, June 11, and got approval from API and selected a slot with this 3 weeks window, they would be attending the exam. The next one would be December 3 to 24 with a deadline of October 1. This is a 3 hours, 15 minutes exam, 80 question, and 10 are non-scored and 70 are scored. And the fees are for this exam is $365. Now, if your company, not yourself, the API does not give individual membership. So if your company is an API member, you end up paying $315. And recertification after 3 years, when you pass, you have to pay $260 to recertify, demonstrating that you have been actually working on this field. And if you fail the exam, or you, for any reason, you cannot attend the exam within the dedicated slot, you have to reschedule and pay $150. Remember, if you registered and you have received the email authorization, you have to give the exam within the slot selected. So as soon as you receive your authorization email, you would be advised that you immediately go and select the slot in the 3 weeks window to your favorite test center. For that, they give you authorization email with a link to Prometric, who holds the exam on behalf of API. You can only select the slot within the window that you have already selected during your registration. And because it's a first come, first serve basis, if you do it at the last minute or do it too late, then there won't be any slots available near you. So you have to fly down to faraway places, even another country, to do that. So if there is no slot available, it's not an excuse not to give the exam. It's as good as failing the exam. So because first come, first serve, we would advise you that as soon as you get your authorization, you select a slot for yourself, and so that you are ensured of that you can give the exam at your favorite test center. And if up to 3 months before expiry of your certificates, you can apply for renewal. And please do not turn on your video. If you have any question, you can write it here. There is a chat line here that you can write. At the end, I will answer your question. Thank you. So as I was saying, up to 3 months before your exam, before your certification is due, recertification, you can apply for it and pay that $260. And then up to 3 months after your certificate is expired, but then subject to a late fee of $150. So that means you pay $260 plus $150 if you want to recertify and you are late. And if the 3 months passes after your certification expiry date, then you end up paying, you end up actually giving the exam all over again. So you can't be recertified. So, okay, let's, you can filter this through. You go to API 580, ICP certification program. Let's see what it has. So this exam, because of the COVID, it can be done in person. That means you select a test center at the time of selecting a slot and select the time. And you attend the test center, recommended to be half an hour before your exam time, because they have to verify your identity. So they will ask you a few security questions. You should have a government-issued photo ID. They will ask you to remove all your belongings. So you shouldn't have, and they will check your glasses to see that it's not being recorded. And they will check your pockets, even your sleeves, to see that there is nothing there. And they take your signature, they take a picture of you, and then they proceed you to your desk to start the exam. So the minute you start the exam, time starts ticking, and unless the time stops, or you end the exam earlier. So the same thing happens remote proctoring, as you can see here. It would be same security way, but you can do it from the comfort of your home or office. But your video and audio should be on your laptop or your desktop, and they will be watching you. There would be an invigilator who will be watching you throughout the exam. You are not allowed to leave the room without the permission. There should be nobody coming inside the room or be in the room when you are giving the exam. You have to turn around the laptop so that the invigilator can see that there is nothing on your table that can help you during the exam. And so it would be the same way, but remotely. So that's called remote proctoring. Okay, let's see what this exam is all about. This exam is based on API RP, or Recommended Practice 580, Risk-Based Inspection, 3rd edition, 2016. And it is 80 questions, 70 are scored, and 10 are not scored. So they are all shuffled together, so you have to answer all the questions. So 195 minutes, or 3 hours, 15 minutes, that's average of 2.5 minutes per question. You got time, but we advise you that always finish and tick all the questions at least 15 to 20 minutes before your time is up, so that you can come back, and if you have flagged off any question, you can look at them once again. And you're not short of them. So you should have a pace here. Say every hour you should do like 25 questions on average. And as you can see here, I think from August 2021, which is the next exam, it would be 90 questions and 80 are score. So that means you got 2 minutes and 15 seconds per question, rather than 2 minutes, 30 seconds. The number of questions increased from 80 to 90. So what are these non-scored questions? Are the questions that are newly designed by subject matter experts in API. And when they design the questions, they have two things in mind. Is it what you really need to know as an API 580 risk-based inspection specialist? And the second question is that, is the question clear enough? So this question is designed by one SME, or subject matter expert, and then checked by 3 other subject matter experts, and then it's put into test as a non-scored question. So if they see that a reasonable number of people answer the question has not been challenged, it will be upgraded to a score type of question and go into API data bank. I strongly advise that you read the exam tutorial. There is no negative marking, so answer all the questions. The average is 70%, the mark, and they do a scaled version. Now, at the end of the exam, you receive email saying that you have either passed, preliminary pass, or preliminary fail, or marginal, which is too close to call. This is because API scaled the question, so to have a consistency, that a standard of that do justice to everybody who does at different windows the same exam level of difficulty. So, but I would say that it's between 68, 69% to 71%, but normally you need 70% to pass. So I'll just quickly go through this. It's very good that you see this tutorial, because before the exam, you have 10 minutes to look at the tutorial. And the tutorial actually asks you that you accept the terms and conditions and how this each button works. So as you see here, this tutorial is 10 minutes, and or you end it earlier. And it will tell you that how many questions you're going to see, and then it will talk about how the buttons works, how you use the mouse, like as you use your desktop mouse, obviously. And so you got a back and next button, and on the left-hand side, as you can see, you see which question you're actually attempting here. And then you can straight away click on that number 10 and go to number 10, but that's not much help, as I know. And if there is any long question, it says this page needs scrolling, as you can see here. So unless you don't scroll, you can't answer, as you can see here. And then you have next button and back button, and then you have the time remaining on the top of the screen, normally on top right-hand corner. So, and the number of questions you have attempted. So please keep the pace. You don't want to be short of time and start panicking at the end of the exam. And there is a good facility here. There's a good tool, flag off. So if there is any question that you're in doubt, you can flag it off, and then at the end you can go to flagged off question. But answer them, and then so that if you're short of time, you at least answer them and try your chances. And then if you click on any answer, it turns color, so it shows you that you have selected your answer, and you can go to the next one. And there is a calculator there, which looks like this. It's a simple calculator. So if you need to do any calculation, you can use it on desktop. Although if you go in person, they give you a small handheld calculator with a pencil and a couple of green size A4 size paper. And if you click and drag on a question, you can highlight it. So if you want to zoom in. And another feature is that if you right click on any answer, it will strike it off. So if you want to, let's say if you have 4 questions and 2 of them, you know, is absolutely wrong. So you want to focus on the other 2 to choose the best answer, then that is helpful. And then at the end, you can filter the, review the question by a question that you are unattempted. And just, this is a good tool to see that, check that you have answered all the questions, and the attempted question or the flagged off question. I would rather do the flagged off question and then make sure that I've answered all the question and I've checked the flagged off question once more. So this is good. And if you want to do a comment, you can write a comment on each question, but remember that it's coming off your time. So the time going to toilet, the time you're resting, the time you're drinking water, the time you're commenting, is all coming off your time. So I would rather suggest that you use it wisely, your time, so you're not short of time in the exam. Okay, having said that, there's lots of guides here that you can use. The qualification that you need to have, any experience in petrochemical industry, you should have a BS degree. And any 2-year degree would be 2 years experience. And if you have any of this certification, 510, 570, 653, you automatically qualify for API 580. But if you do not hold this, then this is the requirement for pre-qualification. And the next click is about recertification. So you can see how you do you go to ICP, Individual Certification Program portal, and register yourself. And then how do you apply for this? So it's been quite comprehensive. If you have any queries still you didn't understand, please come back to us. We'll answer it. We got a WhatsApp line. And you can also write your question here. So how you reschedule or retest, and how you apply for this. So practically when you registering for API, say 580, if you click on this, this is a complete guideline that tells you how these things go about. So it talks about your pre-qualification that you need to do. It goes on, and once you register yourself, you create an account, you put in your certification, you put in your application, your profile, your education history, your employment history, and you fill all this, and it will tell you step by step how you fill this, how you fill in your certifications. So once you have done all these, and if you need, and then you provide two references, you would, your date of birth, title, phone number, which country you are in, that sort of thing. So your account remembers where you're applying from, and which course you want to attend, and do you want to do is a computer-based exam, all of them are that, the date, location, and the language you want to do. They do several languages. Obviously, they what they do is, if you're doing in Chinese or Spanish or I guess Portuguese also, they will provide you with a dictionary actually on your desktop, so you can sort of translate what is it if your English is not that good. Application requirements, and then at the end you would put the legal agreement, you sign it, you put your references, your education training, and it tells you step by step how you select the icons, the drop-down windows, how you add the education, you add your certification, and your employment history, where did you work, and you provide the references and which industry was it. So they will contact your references, and once the references, all they have to do, the people you have put as references, is that, and then they ask, just click and confirm that you have this experience. That's it. It takes probably less than a minute for them to click it, and there's nothing to write. You don't need to write to inspectorapi.org unless you need help. So at the end, you pay the money, okay? So once your experience has been validated, you pay the money, and then they will send you an email authorization, normally within a couple of days. Here, you can pay different ways, bank transfer, credit card, etc. Okay, so let's go. The exam scoring I've talked about. There is frequently asked question, and so let's see who this certificate is good for. Well, this is a sort of a standalone certificate, and you can see that API said, okay, it's a highly specialized experienced inspectors provide show that you are actually and practically, you know, anybody who has got even API 510, 570 or 653 authorized inspector better have this, because in all these codes, inspection codes 510, 570, 653, they have allowed API 580 to overtake the inspection interval. So for example, if all of this code, they say the inspection interval would be 10 years. But if by API 580 assessment, you found out that you can do over and above 10 years, it is allowed in these codes. So although API 580 is a recommended practice, API 510 or inspection codes 570 and 653, they are codes and mandatory. They still allow API 580 to take over on determining the inspection interval. And it's all about, as the name suggests, risk-based inspection. And risk, two factors, probability and consequence. So the whole RBI is about probability of failure and consequence of failure. And what I would suggest is when you read this API 580, it's 150 pages. So pay particular attention on the keywords, vocabulary, on the scope of this. The scope considers both rotating and static equipment, but no structures, because the failure by API 580 means any leak, right? Now, API practically 580 tries to use more inspection towards those one-off equipment that could, whose failure could be fatal in terms of money and human loss or accidents, and take away the inspection efforts on those areas where a failure is not that important, even such as utility equipment or say a dead leg that might leak, it does not, and then practically the side benefit of RBI is reduced inspection and more effective inspection. But then there are different scenarios. So you should understand the meaning of risk in the context. We try to explain this in context of that API 580. It's like a ISO 9001. It's a 1520 page document, but it's been widely used all over the world because although there are not many wordings, but there are many scenarios that they have taken care of and they have come with that 1520 page. So RVI is the same way. 579 is also used extensively in conjunction with API 580. I would put API 580 as the constitutional law, and 579 is actually tell you that in each scenario how you behave depending on the level of risk. And API 581 is actually the methodology, but we don't have any certification for 579 and 581. We have certification, individual certification for 580. I would like to take you to our website. So we provide such a course. So if you go to our website, inspectortraining.com, we have both type of full exam course and mock exam package. So entirely up to you, but I would rather suggest the full course. So if you come to our course, we have explained what this course involves. It's 3 hours of video, 5 sets of flashcards, 10 sets of lessons, and 500 questions. Pass first time or take the course again for free, or you can send us your failed certificate and we will refund you full, no question asked. So far, we didn't have any failure, touch wood. And it's 120 days, 24/7 course access. So we have explained it was 24 hours of study, and each module we explained what this is all about. Like if you come to this course content, you can see, you can read our first module for free, the basic facts, which I have just discussed, many of the points here, and also the video for body of knowledge. So what area you need to know. And then we have a free quiz also, that if you click on this, you see the free quiz. Our quizzes and mock exams are exactly designed as per API. So we have a flag off button. It's been timed. So you can flag it up and you can come back later. You can see answer here, but not obviously in the exam. So this is based on 3rd edition. Remember that you have to study this, not the later edition or earlier edition, because there will be definitely question coming from the revised 3rd edition. So if you are having an earlier revision, you might lose a few questions in the exam. And you are actually checked against your the purpose and scope of RBI. So you have to read it carefully, and then you are scored against risk determination, assessment, management, reassessment, assessing damage mechanism, failure modes, probability of failure, consequence of failure, personal and documentation, risk assessment and RBI, planning, data, information collection. And you shall know the following. Please have a look at this in our website, and you know how this is done and how the questions, how the API designed the questions. Okay, so we have explained everything here, and you can also see in our body of knowledge video, which is for free. We have also lots of free tips here, free quiz, inspection tips, and we also provide API EU approved courses that specifically they are not individual certification program, but they are because we are API EU approved training provided, and we also are an accredited provider by CPD, Continuing Professional Development, which is a global organization. And if you're applying for chartership or professional engineer, you need to have this. This course was 24 hours, so the certificate we will give you was 24 credit hours from CPD point of view that you can use for your application for charter technician or incorporated engineer or professional engineer, because it's mandatory if you are want to have this. So let's come here and see if you guys have any questions so I can answer. let me have a look at the chat line. And so far, we didn't have any question from you guys, but please feel free to write to me and in the greet and meet, or we have a chat line here, WhatsApp, or you can call us, and we will be happy to help. So what I would suggest is you read it from A to Z, okay, the API 580, and try to visualize different scenario if you're doing a self-study. I'll give you an example. We said that there are a few potential exam questions that, the ISO risk line, if you can see in API. So risk is actually quantified into a line or into a number, depending how you do quantitative or qualitative. I'll give you an example. Say if you are going from point A to B by car, now the probability of failure of having accident is far more than if you're flying from point A to B, statistically. But the consequence of failure of making an accident is not that high. Yeah, you might survive the accident, or it might be a minor accident. So, but if there is a air crash, the probability of survival is almost zero statistically. So most of the people unfortunately die when there is an air crash. But the risk overall is actually far less than when you're driving from point A to B, because the probability of having accidents while flying is far less than when you're driving. So the overall risk is far less when you are, and statistically, the people travel by car, more people are involved in accident leading to injury, to disability, even to death, than when people fly. So it's safe to say that the risk by flying is less than that, although the consequence of failure or the crash is obviously far more. So that is the whole point about the risk. And this has become, API 580 is not replacing other techniques like SIL, source in safety integrity level, or HAZOP, hazard operability analysis, or FMEA, failure methods and effects analysis, but rather complement them. And practically, you see the probability of failure and consequence of failure from different angles, from monetary point, from injury to people, from loss of production and money-wise. So it can be qualitative and quantitative. So you should understand that in initial assessment, usually you go more qualitative, like based on knowledge, you can say, okay, this is a one-off equipment. So this needs more inspection, but there are some other equipment that even if they fail, it wouldn't really affect the production, so they are less important. And then you zoom on those equipment more, obviously. So practically, you are trying to minimize the risk of failure overall for the plant. So this is all about the risk. I will just have one more look to see if anybody has a question. Nobody has it. Thank you. So still, if you have any question, you can please write to us or use our WhatsApp line. And you can, I would strongly recommend that you study our API 580 first and second module, which is free for all, and try our quiz. And we also explain which area you have, you will be tested against, and we also provide a 100% money back guarantee for our full course, obviously. And thank you for listening, and we hope to see you on our next webinar then. Thank you guys for your patience, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you and goodbye.